Hi there, I'm Alex Telford, and in this fantastic tutorial we're going to be looking at how to rig a character with a phoneme library prepared for talking and facial expressions. So there are a lot of fantastic tools in Blender that are often quite overlooked. One of those is shape keys. Now, shape keys are a fantastic way to transition between an altered mesh and the original base, such as transitioning from your rest position to an angry face, or smiling, or a fish face, or a frown, all those sort of things. So shape keys give us quite a lot of accuracy with their deformations, which give a very smooth, realistic animation, as they're not based on bones. So in this tutorial, we're going to take an in-depth look at what shape keys are, the best way to utilize them, and how to control them using bones and drivers. We'll create all the shape keys needed to achieve quite a wide range of expressions, rig our character, Larry the Fire Hydrant, with a clean and simple rig, along with using constraints and drivers for efficiency, so that we don't lose our bones in the middle of an animation. Next, we'll take a look at setting up a post library of phonemes, or mouth shapes, and we'll look at how we can instantly call upon any phoneme in our library. And then after we've created our rig and our phonemes, we're going to have a quick test. We're going to take a look at lip syncing our character to a strip of audio, and we'll have a quick look at basic animation principles there as well. So let's get started with the tutorial. For this tutorial, we will be using Larry the Fire Hydrant, which may be found in the resources. This technique will carry to any character you wish to use though, as it is virtually the exact same process for any model with almost any shape of face. So if you wish to follow along using your own character, then you can do that. If you wish to use Larry, then he's available for you. So before we create any shape keys for Larry, we will first learn what they are and how they work. So this step is going to be purely some practice before we get started. So we will create a new file, and with our default cube selected, we're going to go into edit mode and W and press subdivide, and just subdivide it a few times. Now we're doing this just so that we can have a little bit of extra geometry to play with. Okay, so with that done, in your properties panel, if you go over to object data, which is a panel that contains all your vertex groups and UV maps, we also have an option here called shape keys. So if you click the plus sign, you'll notice that it adds in a basis shape key for you. Now you must always have at least one basis for your object, because basis is basically what it's going to base your deformations from. Now you can assign several different basis meshes, but for this tutorial we're only going to be working with the one. If you would like to find out more about that, you can go onto the Blender wiki, and there is a lot more information about that there. So if we click the plus sign again, you'll notice we now have key 1, and we've got a whole bunch of settings down here. So all we're going to do at the moment is we're going to rename this sphere, and we're going to have a little bit of a play. If we go tab into edit mode while we have sphere selected, so you go into tab for basis, you'll be editing your base mesh. On sphere, you'll be editing our sphere shape key. As the name suggests, we're going to be turning this into a sphere. So by holding Shift, Alt and S, you can see we can now turn it into a sphere using Blender's to sphere shortcut, or it is in the spacebar menu under to sphere. And we want a value of 1. Fantastic. Now if we go out of edit mode, you'll notice it goes back to a cube. But if we play with this value slider, we can now morph between the two shapes. Now I'm sure you can already see how awesome this is going to be, and how convenient it is, as it offers a lot of control over our deformations, a lot more control than we can usually get from having a standard bone rig. Okay, so a couple of other options we have in here. We have minimum and maximum values. These here define the range of values that we can use. 0 being deactivated and 1 being 100% deformed. We can also add negative or positive values for these. So I'll go -1 and +2 just to double our range. So we can now go beyond what we've already set. And if you set them too high, you'll notice you get some very interesting looking deformations. Okay, so let's reset that back to 0 and 1. And we'll take a look at the next feature. Now this is called blend, and this changes the blend value. So we've got the basis, which we're blending from the basis, and we can define a vertex group to show where we want it to blend. This is especially useful when blending faces, so that we can have like left and right side of the face. We make the one shape key, and then we can split it into two for the left and right sides. But for now, we're just going to add in a vertex group, and in edit mode, you'll notice I've selected the basis just so I can edit it as a cube, but you can add vertex groups in any of the shape keys you like. So I'm going to select, let's go turn off that, and let's just make a nice and easy selection. There we go. So you can do any selection you like. I'm just doing this for the sake that I want to use this particular blend. And we'll click Assign. So if we press Control Tab to view our vertex groups, we can view them in there as well. So now, with our sphere selected, we will change the blend to Group. And you notice now when we change our value, it only affects the ones in that group. We can also, of course, remove and assign the other lot if we want them to be the other way around. And it gives us a different effect. So it's fun to play with. I'd suggest having a bit more practice, playing around with different settings. But for now we will proceed with the tutorial, and we'll begin rigging Larry.